Well, how is everyone? I hope you're all well. And as you can see, I've been relegated outside, and that's because we're having decorating done. So, yes, I'm here, and I'm hoping when it's done, it will look fantastic, because then it will look like you, because you look fantastic. But anyway, let's get straight into the meat and potatoes, as I want to address something, because look, it's like everything. We have to be fair. We do have to be fair. And although we can go on and say innocent until proven guilty, and we can try and certainly, rebuff some of the things that are being said, especially by mainstream media, to try and force guilt upon someone. And, it's right to do that. It shouldn't be a one-sided argument. They certainly shouldn't be pushing falsities in order to try and concrete, if you like, guilt. And one of the bone of contentions for, I think, a lot of people is the time frame with which the Idaho 4 murders themselves took place. I have said for a long time that we're looking around 8 minutes. Some people have disputed that. There was True Crime Design, I believe, did a video a few days back. If you haven't seen it, certainly go and check it out, because again, it kind of puts into perspective what time frame we're looking at. And look, I believe that we are looking around sort of the 8 minute mark to do the actual crime itself. And I think what happens is you lose a perception of time, because you think to yourself, 8 minutes, it's quick. You think quick. But how quick is it? Is it really that quick in the grander scheme of things? And are there clues in the Idaho 4, kind of what we've been told, that would tell a certain story? And does those things then ultimately raise questions somewhere else that do kind of need to be addressed? And maybe it's because they're not being addressed that does play into the argument that Bryan Kohberger seems like he could potentially be innocent, when in fact he may be guilty as sin. So look, this is what I'm going to say. So most of you, if not all of you, will have heard of Ted Bundy, obviously. And one of the crimes that Ted Bundy carried out was when he would enter a similar sort of scenario where he would go onto a university campus and he would attack and sadly kill multiple victims, multiple people. Now, he attacked some and they didn't, not all of them lost their life, but even the damage that he'd done showed the veracity of what he was doing. Or the ferocity, I was going to say. It was a mixture of kind of ferocity and veracity. So I've made up a word. I have made up my own word, which I do a lot. But look, it would say that this attack took approximately 15 minutes. And there was multiple things that were done that we can't speak about in this video, because some of us will admit that they do videos and there is ad revenue on these videos, and you have to stick within certain constraints in order for them to be suitable for advertisement, and I want to stick in that. So look, he did this in approximately 15 minutes, and they kind of said, this was a frenzied attack, the frenzy attack. That is when someone goes in, they have a purpose, they have a goal, and it's all about maximum damage. And I wonder whether that's what we see in the Bryan Kohberger situation, that he simply went into this house. And again, I'm not saying he's guilty, I'm not saying he's innocent, I'm just playing out this sort of scenario where he has built himself up, he's driving around, he's built himself up to the point where, let's have it, I'm going in and I'm going to do what I want to do. And he goes upstairs, comes back downstairs, and I think if you play that out in your mind, how quickly someone could effectively do this, you have to admit, and I have to admit, that 8 minutes in that kind of scenario is a long period of time. And you could almost turn around and have the other argument, and that is, would you want it to be drawn out that long? Would 8 minutes be too long? Would you be going in there with a plan of, I've got to be in and out of here in X amount of minutes? And when you hear the fact that, look, it could be that the girls upstairs were asleep. one of them was asleep. Both of them was asleep. The entry point was to come in, go upstairs, and the noise, something happened, a commotion happened that resulted in the knife sheath being left. Ethan's come out, he's come down the stairs, he's got the height advantage, and the rest is history. So yeah, I believe that 8 minutes is more than enough, and I have to admit it. I have to admit that 8 minutes seems to be enough in my mind. The issue that I have with the 8 minutes is I believe that in this attack there would have been more noise, there would have been signs of a struggle, and for anybody in that house, whether that was Dylan Mortensen in a room a few feet away, or indeed even Bethany Funk downstairs, I believe that both of them, at least one of them, heard what was going on. So it does still raise the question as to, if they heard what was going on, why on earth did it take so long for them to obtain the help that was needed? And that question has to be answered. I feel that by avoiding that, and we now have rain. I'm literally out in the rain doing you guys a video. That's how dedicated I am, and I'm going to stay doing it. But yeah, this needs to be spoken about. It needs to be answered. It needs to be dealt with, and for that, the big question of this period of time, to be addressed properly. And I think by doing so, it might lead to to fully understand what actually happened on this night, instead of getting dribs and drabs of what happened. But let me know what you think. Do you truly think that the 8 hours, or the 8 minutes, it wasn't enough? It wasn't enough time. And if it wasn't enough time, why? Is it because we've got into this false sense of believing that every single part of this crime was taken in? It was like eating your last cake and you're savouring every piece. Is that why we think of it like that? But again, there are questions. The questions such as, how did he know to go there that night? Or did he just truly not care? How did he know that time? How did he know who was going to be in what room? That it wasn't going to be full of people? There are questions, and it's raining harder. You get my point. I'll catch you all in the next one.